For this question, although it's all variables and there aren't any numbers, this one kind of nicely shows kind of the steps you'll take to factor by grouping. So as we can see, we need to factor a squared plus ab plus ac plus bc. So we can first break them up into two groups. First group being a squared plus ab has a greatest common factor of a, and we'll be left with a plus b for the first binomial. And for the second group, AC plus BC, we have a greatest common factor of C. We're left with A plus B. We can then combine A plus C for a binomial, and we have the like binomial of A plus B. So our final answer is A plus C times A plus B. For this question, we are going to factor 2d to the fourth power plus 6d cubed minus 18d squared minus 54d. We're going to factor that by grouping. Our first group is going to be the 2d to the fourth power plus 6d cubed. That has the greatest common factor of 2d cubed, and we'll be left with d plus 3. And for the second group, has a greatest common factor of negative 18d, and we're left with d plus 3 as well. So we'll have that like binomial, and then we can combine 2d cubed minus 18d. But we can further factor out that first binomial by taking out a common factor of 2d, and we'll be left with d squared minus 9. Still have the d plus 3 binomial. And then d squared minus 9 is the difference of two squares, so we can continue to factor that out by having 2d and then d plus 3, d minus 3, and d plus 3 again. So because we have two of the same binomials, we can combine them, and our answer would be 2d times d plus 3 squared and d minus 3. So the answer to this question would be choice 3. Alright, so for this one, we're going to, once again, break it up into two groups. First one, x cubed minus 6x squared. That has a greatest common factor of x squared. We're left with x minus 6. And for that second group, we have a greatest common factor of negative 25. And we'll have that binomial of x minus 6. So we have the like binomial once again, and then we can combine x squared minus 25 and x minus 6. And then we can further factor this because x squared minus 25 is the difference of two squares. So that can be further factored to x minus 5, x plus 5, and x minus 6. Alright, for this last question, which involves factoring by grouping, although we have more terms, we can still use grouping. We'll just have 3 groups rather than 2. First one will be k to the 4th power minus 4k squared. The second group will be 8k cubed minus 32k. And that last group, 12k squared minus 48. So the first group has a common factor of k squared, and then left with k squared minus 4. Second group has a common factor of 8k, left with k squared minus 4. Third group, factor of 12, left with k squared minus 4 as well. So we have that same binomial, and then we'll combine the rest of the terms to have k squared plus 8k plus 12 as a trinomial. We can further factor both of those because k squared minus 4 is the difference of two squares, which can be factored to k minus 2 and k plus 2. And then for the trinomial, the two numbers that have a product of 12 but a sum of 8 are 6 and 2. So we'll have k plus 6 and k plus 2. Therefore, the answer to this question is choice 4.